Hello, I'm Fiona from the Edinburgh New Town Cookery School, and I am going to show you today how to make some falafel, which is something that was requested actually by somebody who knows us, who wanted to find out how best way of making them. There are various ways of doing this. Generally, you use chickpeas. Occasionally, you might use other beans, as sort of broad beans as well, fava beans. So what I've done with the chickpeas, which are here, is I soak them overnight. Just put them here, and I've got 300 grams here, so I'm going to make quite a few. And you just soak them. I've just strained them, and I'm going to just make sure they're nice and dry by popping them onto a tea towel, hoping they don't go everywhere. And then just dry those out a little bit, just to make sure you don't have too much wetness around them. You want it to be quite a dry mixture. I wouldn't use tinned chickpeas because they tend to make it a bit soft and stodgy and not so good. So you need a food processor, and in here I'm going to put in about 3/4 of the chickpeas. I want to leave some behind because the first mix that I do, I'm going to get it reasonably smooth, and then I want a little bit of chunkiness left behind. So we start off by just pulping those down. And put your lid on and just give it a whiz round. It's a bit noisy. So that's really sort of started to break up quite nicely. Looks a little bit like broken up sweet corn actually at the moment. It's locked down at the moment, and I'm working with what I have. So I've made this with various different things. You can put all sorts of things into the falafel. It's quite a good mixture. You can make very herby ones or very spicy ones. Often they have chili in them, but if you haven't got chili, you could put chili powder in or hot paprika. I'm going to put some shallots in. If I had spring onions, I'd probably use them. I find that the shallots or the spring onions are just a little bit calmer in the mix than the big onions. I've also got here some garlic, which quite a bit of garlic. There's 3 to 4 cloves I would use, depending on the size of them, and they're just crushed down. And then I have got in here some salt and pepper, just to season it really well. Quite a lot of pepper, reasonable amount of salt. And then here I've got the spices. I have got some ginger, some cinnamon, cumin, coriander, allspice, and I've also got some sumac, which is a really nice sort of acidic, it comes from a berry actually, but it's a really nice one. If you haven't got that, you could grate a lemon and put the lemon zest in instead. So I think I've got named everything, but you'll find it all in the recipe, which on YouTube is below. If it's on Facebook or Instagram, there'll be a link to a web page, and you can find it in the recipes. So you put all of those in, and now I'm going to give that a good whiz around. So now I'm going to add the rest of the chickpeas. Just put all of those in. Now, I haven't got any fresh parsley and I haven't got any fresh coriander at the moment, but what I do have is a plentiful supply of chives, so I'm putting chives in, but I would suggest parsley and coriander are a good mix in this. So that goes in, and this time I'm going to just put it on and off and pulse it a bit. So that's still got lumps of chickpea in, which is good. So at this point, I'm going to just take it out of the food processor and put it into a bowl. And you can, if you want to, check the seasoning of this now just by taking a little bit of it, making it into a little ball, and then just frying it. Taste it. So the final thing I'm going to add to that is a little bit of baking powder. So mix that through really thoroughly, and we're just going to let that rest in the fridge for about half an hour or so before we shape them. I'm now going to make some tahini sauce to go with the falafel, and so in here I have tahini. It's about 3 to 4 tablespoons tahini. In here I've got the juice of around about half a lemon, quite a juicy lemon. And in it I've put a couple of cloves of garlic, which I've just crushed up lightly. And I'm just soaking them in the lemon juice. They've been there for about half an hour. And I'm going to strain it out because that will have given the lemon juice quite a garlicky flavour. And it takes away, sometimes I find that when you're using raw garlic in something, it becomes really quite overpowering and you can't taste other things. So this way I can manage the amount of garlic that's going in there. So I'm just going to pour it through a tea strainer. And then I'm using a nice little sauce whisk here. Now you'll find that when you add the lemon juice, it thickens up the tahini a little bit. It just becomes a bit thicker. You can see that was quite loose before and it's now thick. So to that I'm going to add a little bit of cumin, just a pinch of cumin. And I'm going to also add a little bit of salt, a good pinch of salt. And just mix those in. And then in here I have some very cold iced water. So I'm just going to put a little bit in to loosen it. And just keep going until I get it to the consistency I'm looking for. Letting it down with water, you just begin to get it like that. Now you can decide whether you want it like that. I'm going to add a little bit more just to make it slightly runnier. Okay, so I'm going to show you now just how thick that is. Could have a bit more water. We'll taste it and see what it's like. And you can have this as almost a dipping sauce, or you can just make it a little runnier to make it a pouring sauce. So if you're serving the falafel with flatbreads, salads, hummus, whatever else is going in, you can just then drizzle on the top. So you've just got a little bit of the flavour of the tahini. You don't need very much of it. So that's the tahini sauce ready to go. And really simple, really simple. So I'm making the falafel here and made quite a few already. And I'm just taking the mixture and just shaping it in my hand, just into a ball. You can make little tiny ones if you want to, or slightly bigger ones. Just put them into your hand and mould them just from side to side until they're good, sort of slightly smaller than golf ball size, I would say. Okay, if you want to, you can roll them in sesame seeds. I've done that with this plate here. So they're all rolled in sesame seeds. Put that there. So that's all of them done. So I've got some oil on here and I want to get it to around about 180. So let's just see what temperature it's at the moment. Okay, now deep fat frying, I haven't got very much oil, so I'm using a pan like this. It's about that much in the bottom, but that's still enough to make a fire if you're not very careful with it. So always the rules with deep fat frying, make sure that you stay with it, don't leave it, don't walk away. Always have something to exclude the oxygen if it goes on fire. And in which case you need to turn off the power source and put a lid on it. The one thing you never ever do is pick it up and walk with it, because that's a danger. And the other really important thing is never throw water on it, because it will explode and cause a lot of damage and probably injury. So be really careful with it, keep an eye on it. It's really handy to have a thermometer. You can get lots of digital thermometers these days, and then just sort of every now and again measure the temperature. You want it to be at the right heat before you put these in. Now when it's cooked, I'm going to take that and put it onto a tray which has got some blue paper on it, and I've got a slotted spoon that I can do it with, or I can do it with a pair of tongs, whichever way. We'll start off with the ones that haven't got sesame seeds on, because they're less likely to drop them into the fat. Sesame seeds are likely to fall off, and so some of them might burn a little bit. I want it to maintain the heat. When I put all the little falafel balls in there, it will lower the heat a little bit to just bring it down, but then it will start to rise again. So you just need to be a little bit careful with this. And as I say, a thermometer, if you haven't got a deep fat fryer, then a thermometer is a really useful thing to have. Now I've made these are largish ones, so I would say that 175 is probably going to be about fine for these, and we're nearly there now actually, so I'm going to start adding the first ones, and they should sizzle and hiss. Now the fat will rise up, so don't put too much in. I think I can fit one more wee one in there at the side there. There we go. I'm just going to turn this down now, and that should maintain it at that temperature. So it will take a few minutes. If the fat comes up and covers it, you may not need to turn it, but generally you do. So just turn them over, and every now and again just turn them over. Make sure they're cooking evenly and browning evenly. Okay, these are just about ready now, so I'm going to take them out. Just drain on the side. Put them. And then we'll put the next ones in. So here we are. They're all finished. They've all been fried. Some with the sesame seeds, some just the plain ones. I've just put them onto a dish with the bowl of tahini sauce in the middle, a few flatbreads to have with them, and do some salad as well. They're quite easy to do, a bit of patience, careful when you shape them, careful when you fry them, but they're really pretty straightforward things to make, and you can put whatever flavouring you like, and if you like it really spicy and lots of chilli, add some of that as well. Have a go, let us know how you made yours, whether you added different spices, and how you got on with them. Enjoy it, and we'll see you the next time. Bye bye.